Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Wednesday, and may the 4th be with you. You know what I mean by that if you understand the culture. That being said, though, I'm not a financial advisor. Just here for educational purposes. I hope you can learn something today, and obviously, hopefully, you can learn and grow together eventually. So, if you'd like to become a community member, CryptoCache.tech is the site. Link in the description below. I've got a Signal group, Trading Academy, and community. All good stuff there. With a pretty awesome community too. Thank you so much to all my members for just being amazing supporters over the months here and now years actually. This is my official, first year complete, so to speak, and really happy about that as far as YouTube is concerned. Regardless of that fact here, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look, of course, at Bitcoin Big Surprise. We're going to go ahead and obviously try to understand today's increase. Now, I don't want us to get super excited. Obviously, this is positive in a sense where we could potentially make a higher low or a higher high depending on the overall time frame that you look at, but generally speaking, we're not out of the woods yet, and I just want you to be cautious and careful and not go all in. And as per usual, maybe dollar cost average at this point, because 38.7 is still a pretty good value for Bitcoin. But we are anticipating going down at this point because we can see this trend line, of course, digressing concurrent with the 20-day set moving average, and of course working its way down here as well. So we truly haven't broken free from that. And until we do, we don't really see that there's going to be a trend reversal yet. So this could be that false positive we're seeing just before the price comes down. All right, so that's generally what we're looking at there in that sense. For the big picture, underneath both moving averages, once again, 42,000 is a strong resistance, and also 39 as well. And I'll go ahead and talk about that here in a moment. RSI is on the rise, of course, but we're still under 50. So to me, we're still well below some major key level resistances, and it's something that we probably will continue to do for some time. All right, we'll double check and see. We might be range bound for the moment, but we're not sure yet. We need to be able to break this descending channel first and then address it. All right, but for right now, we do have a potential MACD convergence on the daily, implying that we might be able to see a shift in momentum again. But as you can tell, it's tried multiple times on its way down here and still no success. Okay, so we got to kind of anticipate and work with a worst case scenario and expect the price to go lower before it goes higher. All right, now today could be a really weird day. It typically always is when we have the Fed meetings, and today at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Fed meeting. So just keep in mind that will create a lot of volatility. The price may shoot up or down incorrectly and then immediately reverse itself. It's happened a lot, and historically speaking, though, the price usually does tend to increase inevitably as a result of the actual news itself. So in other words, if we look back at the two previous dates, you could actually see that they're both increases after the effect. I'll bring that up later because I don't have the specific dates here. I looked at those earlier, but I can tell you that generally speaking, the average price increases inevitably as a result of the Fed meeting. Okay, so not saying it's going to shoot up today, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a potential increase here later today, depending on how things work out. All right. We could also see a major decrease too, though. That's the thing you got to understand. A lot of times going into those meetings, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And at this point, it's hard to say. Taking a look here, though, at 39,000, just kind of touch on this here. If we go ahead and draw a line at 39,000, we can see there's a pretty strong amount of resistance. So the price comes up, tested it about 12 hours in a row, back on the 2nd of May, 2 days ago. And now here today, we're so far getting rejected at that price point. So that could very well be a situation where that might be the tentative resistance, keeping the price action down to honor this descending trend line. So just something to be aware of. Another thing also to note as well, if we look at this year's worth of trading data, we go back just say to the beginning of the year. Sorry, let me move that here. So we go right back to 2022. And we pull that up and we look at the volume. There's a strong resistance channel here at 39,000. And what I mean by strong resistance channel is just typically when your price is below a specific volume price point, it can work as a resistance level, and we have the most amount of volume right at 39,000. Okay, so it's pretty much just a point of contention at this point. We need to get a pretty solid close above 40, maybe even 42 to be, back on track, you could say, at least tentatively. But for the moment, I can tell you though that 39,000 is proving to be a pretty strong resistance, both with volume and obviously just using a trend line essentially. So just something to be mindful of. No guarantees on that, but that that definitely is something we want to be aware of. The last thing we also want to take a look at here, of course, at least on the 4 hour, would be the 50-day SMA. Now we broke above so far. That's a very positive sign. Just keep in mind we broke above before and came right back down. So we do need to respect the fact that we haven't officially received confirmation above the 50, but this is a very positive sign. Being above the 50 is extremely important in the general sense of some kind of potential turnaround. And we'll see here soon if that holds. But for the moment today, I would expect to see a lot of nonsense. The next couple of hours are going to be really interesting. Anyways, that being said, it's kind of what we're looking at here for the moment on the 4 hour. We're above 50 on the RSI as well, a tentative resistance, which is nice. We do have a MACD convergence too. So there's mostly good things here. It's just hard to get excited about it because every time we've had this in the past, we see an immediate reversal. And that's usually at a lower specific, a lower low and a lower high to continue that pattern. So we need to just be realistic here in that sense that even though we're tentatively making higher highs, it's still not really all that official just yet. But it's a positive sign and a good step in the right direction, right? So again, 4 hour looks better than the daily, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the 1 hour and see kind of what that means here. So taking a look at TD sequential, first thing I want to address here is that we see a 9 that hit right at this key level support at about 37,500 is a round number. It wicked all the way down to 37.5. We see both of those points hit twice. So you could argue this is a double bottom before the increase, but you could also argue the fact that the more often we test this key level support, the more likely it is to break. Okay, so there's a couple of different schools of thought there. It feels like Bitcoin still wants to break down lower, but after the last 12 hours of trading, you can tell that there's still a little fight left in here, right? So we came up to a 9, became overexhausted essentially, and then of course tapered off and consolidated sideways. We're now at a 4. So hypothetically, you could see another 5 more hours of continuation to the downside before the next leg up. That's usually how it's supposed to work. But again, no guarantees going into the Fed meeting here today. So the bottom line is that we're going to see some choppy waters here in the immediate future, followed by a potential increase based on the simple fact that Bitcoin notoriously, or at least 2 out of the last 2 times we've had a Fed meeting this year, has inevitably increased in value afterwards. Okay. So again, some positive stuff there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see another retest at 37.5, and if so, potentially break that. So once again, there's a handful of different scenarios you could entertain, but generally speaking, it's kind of a toss of a coin for the moment until we get that Fed meeting in and out of the way. But the likelihood of the price increasing from here is higher based on the simple sense that we've had some pretty positive results as a result of the past 2 Fed meetings earlier this year. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look. One last thing here. We're going to look at the cloud. We can see that we're above the cloud, lagging spans free of any price action, conversion lines well above the baseline. So all good things there in that sense. There's really no reason to close your long position if you had gotten in here lower. It's not telling us you want to take a new position per se. I would recommend not doing that for the moment because we truly don't know where the price is going to go from here, especially getting resisted out here. Because if you see on the 1 hour, it's a little more clear. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours out of that 12-hour period that did not break that 39,000 level. Came back down to test 37.5, right back up to 39, and what do you know? Stopped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in a row. Okay, so again, those are some pretty obvious signs telling us there's a strong resistance level, but we also concurrently have a strong support level down here as well. So we may be range bound between 37.5 and 39,000 for a little while. There's that potential as well. But until 39,000 is cleanly broken, we get a candlestick close above 39 today, I wouldn't feel like we're back on track just yet. In fact, that would be, again, a very tentative back on track because the general sense of the word here is that even though we have a nice 4-hour time frame, it still doesn't look great on the daily. We don't have a fantastic candlestick close here just yet. It's shaping up to be a potential bullish engulfing candle, but again, the day is still early. All right? But more likely than not, we should see an overall reversal trend to the upside. In general, that's what we've experienced in the past. But again, a lot of the macro data doesn't look very good right now. Okay, so the big picture is really telling us it still wants to go down, while the shorter time frames, the 1 hour and the 4 hours, telling us we're trying to come back up. We've just had a lot of false positives recently. Until we're back up over 40,000, I'm not going to be convinced that this little push is going to continue. That's just my personal opinion. That being said, I hope you found benefit here. Of course, you got some comments. Feel free to comment and subscribe and like and all that good stuff if you haven't already. If you want to become a better trader, CryptoCache.tech is a site. Link in the description below. I look forward to working with you, and I really truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. Once again, may the 4th be with you, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.